Okay, so this is all about layers, and it's so important to these layers that I've turned everything off apart from the layer palette, which is here, and I've made it float inside this version of Photoshop. Okay, let's make a canvas. I've already been in and actually set the dimensions, so when I go to new, I've already got a 600 by 600 canvas, resolution 72, which is for the web, and my background contents are white. So I'm now making a white canvas, which I don't want to see in this full screen mode. So in this version, which is CS4, I can say float in all windows, and I'm going to just resize that window like so and move that in a bit for the purposes of the video. Okay then, layers, how do you make them? Well, it's this icon down here, create a new layer is what it says. It's a multi-purpose thing. You can actually, if you've imported a picture and the picture is your background, you can then duplicate things by just dragging the background into this and letting go. But just for now, we're going to create an actual proper layer, which is a transparency, and I'm going to make 3 of them. So it's 1, 2 and 3, and by default it names them layer 1, 2 and 3. Now I want to rename these, and I wouldn't normally name layers because usually I know what my layers are, but if you're working with a lot of layers, it is a good idea to name them. So here goes. Double click on the name, highlight is this one, the second one down, layer 2, the middle layer, if you want to think of it as a middle layer, is sphere, and layer 1, which is the bottom layer, is shadow. Okie doke. So let's start on the middle layer. To choose which layer to work on, you simply click on it and it becomes highlighted. So I want a red. Let's start with this in black and white. I want a red sphere, so I'm going to click on there, which brings up this picker, and I'm going to choose a slightly darkish red and say OK. The brush tool is already active, and I can see that the brush is a hard edge brush, and I can have a look in more detail by dropping down this dialog box, where it does tell me the hardness is 100%, the diameter is 100 pixels. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to click on this arrow here to close the dialog box, and that's not large enough. So I missed the opportunity with the slider to actually set it, but I have got some shortcut keys, which are the square brackets. So the left square bracket makes the brush smaller, the right makes it larger, and I want it about 250. So just to recap, I'm on the sphere layer. I can see that in the layer palette. I've got a red brush. I can see the red down at the bottom of the tool palette there, and I've got a hard edge brush because I can see it in the brush properties area, and it does look a hard edge brush. So one single click creates me a sphere. Moving up the stack, which is what it's called, the top of the stack, I now want to have a white brush, paint with white, and that's convenient because I can now switch foreground and background colours just by clicking this curved arrow. So I've now got a white brush, and the brush is actually hard edged, so I need to then go in and pick a soft edge. Doesn't matter what I pick, 335 will do. And instead of going back up to here, I simply tend to click just in a grey area, which does the same thing. It closes the box, but here just notice that the hardness is on 0. Back to the square brackets keys, which is by far the easiest way to alter things. Just go to 100, and I'm going to click there. I'll do 2 clicks. Okay, 2 clicks gets me a nice white highlight. Down to the shadow, the bottom layer, which I want in black. So the easiest way to pick black is to set the default colours. So I'm now working with a black brush. I still want a soft edge, and all I want to redo is really resize it. Now I can prove that the idea of layers works now, because you can see the highlight layer in front of the sphere, because you're looking downwards from the top of the stack. So the first pixels you see are the white highlights, the second pixels you see are the red sphere, and the third lot of pixels you're going to see will be the shadow, which should be behind the sphere. So if I click a few times, okay, you can see that they are indeed one on top of the other. So this is where we've done the preparation work now. Now we need to go in and set things up a little bit more. While I'm on the shadow layer, I'm going to put in this show transform controls, which only appears when you're on the move tool. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to squash this area down to make it look like it's a shadow. I'm going to move it up a bit. I'm going to stretch it out slightly to the right, then move it back in again. What I can do is I can tweak it around with the arrow keys as well to be more accurate. When I'm happy, three choices: either click on the tick, which appears at the top of the actual work area, or you can click enter, or you can do as I do, just click inside the box where you've been working, inside the transformation area. I'm going to turn off the show transform controls, because I'm going to now move into the sphere and try and make the sphere look something more three-dimensional. I'm going to apply an effect which will be bevel and emboss, and as soon as I click it, you'll see that it's now got a slightly raised edge. So I'm going to size that. What I want you to do eventually is to go in and just tweak these things around. So that's starting to look something like. I want to try and get that highlight about there, and I think that will do. I'll just have a tweak on there. No, I don't want that. Maybe about there, eh? It's looking okay to me. Just lean backwards a little bit and have a look, and I can say okay. So that's an effect, okay, on the top of a layer, and that's only, of course, on the sphere layer. I've had an effect which is bevel and emboss. If you don't like it, you can always go back in just by double clicking in the area which says bevel and emboss, and it will reopen the box for you to then tweak a little bit more. Okay, so there we have it. Let's now crop it, because we wanted it for the web, so we don't want all that canvas around it. You would normally crop things at the end anyway. Okay, let's just drag this in a slight bit. Just be careful when you're cropping into something with a graduated effect on it, because sometimes you can crop and then when you drop it onto something else you can actually see a straight line, and you've not cropped as far as you think outwards. So I'm going to go to there. Once again, I'm going to use my method, which is to double click inside there, and I'm going to go File and Save for Web, because I have no idea what the size is. I know the red sphere, I just happened to glance when I was doing it, was 250 tall, so it's 250. This must be about 300 and something. So Save for Web and Devices, it's 315 high. Okay, so let's say I want it 125 high. 125. I'm doing something for the web, and they've said that's the height we want it. So I click on that, I change it. The aspect ratio is locked, so I change the height, it changes the width, and then click in this area, which is strange. This is altered in the new versions, but in other versions there'd be an OK thing to click, or an apply to click. Now it's just to simply click in the area. That brings it down, and it shows you what it's going to look like roughly on the web. And if you want to see exactly what it's going to look like on the web, Remember, it's 4.91K, which is hardly anything at all, but you can preview that on the web now just by going into there, and it shows you inside Internet Explorer running locally on your PC what it's going to look like, and it gives you some dimensions and everything. But you already knew that, of course, because you could see that in the dialog box. Okay, so there we are. I'm not going to go anymore. I'm just going to go. I'm not going to save that. It's going to go to cancel and just go over very quickly what we've done. We made 3 layers. We renamed them. We put 3 different things on each layer, and we've applied transformations and effects. And one thing I've left to show you, to answer the question, what else can you do with a layer apart from move it and apply effects? You can actually change its opacity. So on the sphere layer, if I then move this slider or change the value, it becomes to look like glass, it becomes to look transparent. So you can make things for the web, or well, for anything, which have a glass-like appearance. There we go. So that's it. That's all about layers. As much as you need to know about layers to get you started. So don't be frightened of layers. That's all they are. They're just simple, stacked up on top of each other, and you look through them and you see whatever in that order. Okay, so see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.